Hi everybody, my name is Ann. Thanks for joining me on Art on the Creek today. We're in my home studio in Parker, Colorado, and I'm so glad you're here. You know, I'm trying something new. I have a new tripod. I'm trying to get it situated so that we can have an overhead view or a close-up view of what we're doing. And right now, I just used this close-up tripod for this entire video. And we need to work out a few of the kinks, so I'm going to ask you to be a little bit patient with me. I'm so sorry, but I think there's enough information in this video that you'll be able to still enjoy it and really learn from it. You know, I love food, and I've never really painted it, and I bet you love food too. I don't know if you've ever painted it, but one of my favorite things to eat is cheesecake, and I thought that I could show you how I would approach painting cheesecake today, and maybe we can learn how to tackle that together. Are you ready? Let's go do it. I have this new little miniature tripod, and I'm hoping that this camera angle is good for you guys. I just wanted to show you sketching a little bit. So I'm hoping that, let's see, that's going to be out of focus, isn't it? That'll work. Okay, so I am going to start by sketching the cheesecake itself. So it's kind of straight across right there in the back, and then it comes down to its glorious crusty goodness here, and we've got a bit of the bottom of it, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the line as if there were no wonderful cherries spilling out all over the place, but what I want to do is, of course, add those in because, oh my goodness, this one made me hungry. So there's our piece of cheesecake, and let's see, the front of it is not all just a point. It kind of comes down with some width here, and then we've got this beautiful sauce coming down this way, and it kind of comes up over here and makes this little, ooh, I like all of the striations of color in there, so we'll try and get those in. And then up top, we've got some cherries covered in glaze. And it looks like there's about 3 or 4 of them here. And I like how the glaze kind of is over them. Now there is a leaf sticking in the top of this cheesecake. I wouldn't want that on my cheesecake. It doesn't look like food. It looks like an actual leaf, so I'm taking it out. And that you can do whenever you have a picture and you don't like something in there, you, my friend, can take it out. But I love this puddle of cherry sauce, so we're going to put that in right there. And there's some more cherries here at the bottom. I may not put as many as they have, but we'll put a few here. I think maybe I'll do 3 of them there, and then, ooh, there's some on the other side too. Let's do those. A lot of highlights here on this bit of sauce. I don't know why I made that little cleft in the cherry there. And some of these cherries are shaped kind of funny, but, you know, mine may or may not end up that way. I don't know. All right, so that is really all we need for our drawing. Sorry about the shadow of the phone. I've adjusted my light every which way, and I cannot seem to adjust it the way I want. So there we go. There's the drawing of the cherry. Now let's try some painting with this kind of close-up view. So let me get my water set up, and I'll be right back. All right, I've eliminated the shadow problem, but the angle looks a little weird, like in the Bat Cave. Do you remember that on the Batman show from the 60s? Every time that there was a bad guy, they would turn the camera angle so that you could tell that you were in the unbalanced lair of the bad guy. Batman! Oh my goodness, I don't get out much. Okay, let's get serious now. Back to painting. I'm using my Schmincke Horadam paints, and I kind of wanted you to see how this process works, which is why I am changing the angle of the camera here. So I'm sorry if it seems a little weird, but This is a very thin wash of ultramarine, and I'm just kind of trying to get the suggestions of some kind of a background here. And then I think I will go in later and make it a little darker and actually put the plate in. But for now, that's all I want to do. We'll put a little bit down here. I'm using this Paul Rubens cold press book, and I really like it. Paul Rubens has turned out to be a kind of a surprising company. They really have the ability to create usable watercolor products for artists and to make it so that you're not having to pay an arm and a leg. So I like that. Now I'm just going in with a very thin wash of color here to kind of try and block in what I want to do. And when you do this yourself, I'm making a new drip there, I guess. You wouldn't have to leave your pencil lines, but I want to do that for you guys here. I'm using the Permanent Carmine, which is the cool red, and I'm mixing that with just a touch of the lemon yellow. And again, these are the Schmincke Horadam watercolors. I'm planning on going back in with a white gel pen to do the highlights, so I'm not really too concerned about those right now. But kind of want to get this cherry sauce in there a little bit. And now for the cheesecake. Now if I was using my other palette, I would use Daniel Smith Buff Titanium, but what I'm going to do now is to go in with a little bit of their yellow ochre and mix in a touch of burnt sienna, and then really water that down. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. It's just hardly any paint at all, just very, very sheer, very light tan, about the same value as what we've used so far. It is an extremely watery mix. And I'm going to say extreme, not even very. It's extreme. Okay, so now I've got this barely there yellow, and I'm going to just fill this in. I'm intentionally leaving some spaces, and I want this to look really pretty sketchy. I don't usually paint food. This is part of my friend painting group challenge that we do. We take turns, there are 3 of us, and we take turns creating painting challenges for each other. And this one was actually my suggestion, so I only have myself to blame. Let's try burnt sienna and a little bit of yellow. That's nice for the crust. Is it even burnt sienna? I think I'm calling that wrong. I think it's actually Venetian red. Yeah, it's English red. Oh wow, yeah, it's even labeled English Venetian red, and we can mix that for this crust, and I'm going to add just a touch of sepia. You be the judge. To that to try and make kind of a crusty color. And we'll go along the back here. And I'll leave a little bit of space there as well. And then this little baked line does come up to the front, goes all the way down the back. This is just that good golden brown yumminess that cheesecakes have. I have the absolute best cheesecake recipe. I will put it in the description because you guys, oh my gosh. Okay, so let me tell you this story. So when our oldest son was either in kindergarten or first grade, I can't quite remember, it was the same day that O.J. Simpson made his flea in that white Ford Bronco. So you do the math, whatever year that was. The Musacchio family, he was playing with his friend over at their house. And the Musacchios were this great New York Italian family. I loved them. They were so friendly. And of course we connected because we're Italian. But Mike became friends with their son in class, and this is when we lived in Westminster, Colorado. And I absolutely love this woman. They had their mom living with them. Well, she had a story to tell, and her story was that she used to work in a cheesecake factory, a cheesecake pan factory rather, in New York. So the recipe that I'm going to share with you is the one from Lena Masacchio's job when she worked, and I'm guessing this was probably the 1930s or 40s, in a cheesecake pan factory in New York. Whenever you bought this cheesecake pan, you'd also get a recipe. So this was the very recipe that she used, and she gave it to me, and it has been the absolute best, most delicious cheesecake that I've ever had in my life. And I am, as you know, at altitude, being in Colorado, and baking doesn't always work, but this one has never failed me. So no matter what your altitude is, I'm going to add another drip of red right about here, I think. I think that you are going to love this cheesecake recipe. So I will share it with you. And you can have cheesecake while you're painting cheesecake. All right, now I think what we need to do is just put on a second layer of some of these colors and kind of bring the intensity up here. We'll come back in here with the same mix of the brown that we put on here for the yummy, tasty goodness of the crust. Do you put a crust on your cheesecake? It looks like this one doesn't even have a crust. Oh yeah, it does. It's like a sugar cookie or regular pie crust. I used to put a regular pie crust on my cheesecake, but now that I am gluten-free, and I have been since 1989, I do have celiac. I was diagnosed with celiac, and so I need to not eat gluten. But let me tell you, it was hard then. It's not hard now. It is so easy to find gluten-free things, and this cheesecake recipe is delicious if you use gluten-free graham crackers with the crust. See, you're getting all kinds of information out of me today. You didn't even know that you were going to be regaled with cheesecake. It's just like I said in the opening. Once you say cheesecake, do you really need to say anything else? You had me at cheesecake. What is your favorite kind of cheesecake? Do you like cherry cheesecake? What kind do I like? I do like cherries. I love blueberries. I don't know, that's a tough question. I don't know what kind of cheesecake is my favorite. You know, some of these cherries are exceptionally dark, so let's go ahead and add some Prussian blue to this red. And we'll get a really dark, moody purple out of it. And I'll add some of the warmer red as well, maybe. There we go. That really brings it up to a moody purple. And now we can add this in here to these cherries, particularly this one in back. I'm kind of going wet into damp right about now. And I'm just not covering every nook and cranny because I'm trying to just leave some highlights here. And that worked out really well. All right, now we'll get this really moody purple in up here close to the cheesecake because that's where it's going to be the darkest. Let's see, we'll go into the Prussian blue again. Really get that dark. It's almost purple. And kind of come around these cherries like so. This will be nice because we'll be able to come in with the highlighter at the end. The highlighter. Not the highlighter. The, whatchamacallit? You know, that thing. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm having a senior moment here. The white highlight pen. Thank you. The gel pen. That's what we're going to do at the end. We'll put, here's some drop of water on my ferrule. the gel pen will come in and get some of these highlights established in here so that we can, in fact, I'm going to go just a little bit outside of here because that is really quite highlighted right there. All right, I think I like that much. Now, my friends are going to be surprised by this because typically I paint very boldly and very intentionally. This is very light and loose for me. Is that a fork over there? I guess it would be. It just has some weird reflections on it. I cannot really tell what it is. Let's work on the plate. We'll mix the ultramarine blue with some of the sepia so that we can have a nice gray. That makes a really nice gray with this set. I really like that. And let's see here. Let's come around to this portion of the plate right here. And this one. And we'll get some shadows going from the cheesecake. And the cherries. Just take some water and pull that out right there. And I guess I'll put some shadow in right there as well. Kind of bring it up to the cheesecake. I'm not sure if I like that yet. We'll find out. You know what? True story. Plates are hard for me. I'm not. Hey, look at this. I have to think. I can't even talk and do it at the same time. I don't know, guys. We'll have to see how that works. Might love it, might hate it. I don't know. I truly don't know. That is way too dark. Let's come up here a little bit. Now I feel like there's not enough difference between the plate edge and the background. I'm going to go around on this plate edge too and add a little highlight. I do like the idea of when you're painting pottery and things like that, that it can be a little handmade looking. Which, man, I don't know if you can tell, but my hand is not steady, so the fact that we can make things look a little handmade is pretty good. Add some of the shadow in this, in the cherries here. This is that same gray shadow that I've used on the plate. Add some of it up here. And into the cherries sauce here. This guy back here needs to be in shadow. There, I think that might be it. Let me mix just one little bit of ultramarine here, and I just want to get it really light because I think we need just a touch of it here and here. All right, my friends. That looks kind of delicious. Let's see if we can, what do we want to do? Let's look at those cherries just a little bit here. I'm taking the ultramarine, make that the permanent carmine, cadmium red, and a little bit of that Prussian blue. And I just want to get a nice dark reddish here. And I'm covering this edge that's closest to us, since this cherry pie is kind of backlit here. There we go. Now I like that for sure. I think that might have been the punch that we need. Now, before that dries, I'll come in with my wet brush here and just kind of agitate that pigment to get it to flow on these cherries. It also makes me think of that song by Warrant, She's My Cherry Pie. And if you're interested in refreshing your memory about that video, you'll have to look it up, because nowadays that would be considered a little bit risque in the content department, and that's not what my channel is about. So we'll just have to leave that past in the past. But I do have fun going down memory lane. I hope I'm not boring you guys. I just really like doing that. Those were the days. Those were our glory days, folks. Are you old enough to have glory days yet? That's one of my favorite Bruce Springsteen songs. All right, almost done tweaking. There. Let me get my heat tool. I think now that it's dry and I've got that darker bit of cherries in there, I think I want to make the toasty goodness back here just a little bit darker. And we'll come across the top with that as well, where the little cheesecake crust would be. All right, now we can dry it. I kind of ended up with, let me zoom in here so you can see them. I ended up with a little bit of cauliflower here, but I kind of like the way it turned out. I kind of think that it adds to our little situation a little bit. Okay, now we need gel pen. I remember putting it away. Oh, look here, look here, look here. Look what was hiding. Okay, problem averted. All right, now I want to pull up my picture again so that we can see where these highlights are. It has some interesting highlights up in here. So I'm going to just make some dots with this, and then you can just kind of blend those in with your finger. And I really like that when you're using, move my paints out of the way, and we'll put this here so you can see what I'm doing. When you're using a gel pen, I really like the varied capabilities that you have with it. I really like just softening the highlights like that. And then let's see, right on here, there's this highlight right there. And there's another one right near these cherries. And the cherries themselves have some great highlights on them. And this area right in here of our little glaze, I'll put some more highlights back here. Maybe right in here. And let's see, down here there are a few. I'm just mainly putting these in so that we can tell where the cherries are. There we go. And then we've got just a few highlights here. There's a reflection of the cheesecake in the pool here, but we'll just lighten it up a little, like so. And now we'll go for these guys. They have a larger highlight right here and here. Let's see, where else do I want to put some highlights? I really like this one here. And we'll do a few more up here. I'm looking at it through the camera to kind of take away that perspective of me being the one that created it. And I kind of like what I see. Ooh, hand cramp. And then I do want to definitely put a highlight in down the runner of the plate here. The runner, great, the edge of the plate. I think we're done. Just want to make sure that this area up here looks the way I want it to look. Some of these drips should have some highlights, I think, down this edge. I don't want to put too many in, but there, I can work with that cauliflower bloom to kind of get some highlights in. There we go, my friends. Cheesecake. Let's take the tape off. Let's see if we can do this without pulling any of the paper off so that I don't have to get out the heat tool again. So far, so good. Washi tape can be your best friend. Any kind of low-tack tape will work. You can just use painter's tape. You don't have to go get anything special. But because I used a skinnier tape after I had the first tape on, I have some oopsies there and there, so I can go over those with bleed-proof white if I want to. Or we could just leave this like it is. What do I want to do? What the heck? Let's get out the bleed-proof white. Shall we? Let's just make this work. This is the bleed-proof white that I like to use. It's a De La Rowney Luma. It's actually an ink. And it is water soluble, so all you have to do is get your brush wet and then go into the little pot of ink here. And let's get the brush clean. There we go. And you can see it's very easy to re-wet. So I'm just going to go over these little spots here that I went beyond my tape. And, you know, you'll be able to see them if you're just looking at this with your naked eye, but what it does is it takes away those kind of edge errors on first glance. So there's that. Now what I want to do is to get my pen out. I'll leave that right there so that you guys can see. And I'll use my favorite fountain pen. And there you go, guys. There's some cheesecake. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you had as much fun painting it as I did sharing it with you, and hope you enjoyed my new camera angle. It won't stay forever because like this right here, this is part of the little tripod. So yeah, I need to work on a few things. Let me move this. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thanks for being my friends. Have a good time. I hope you guys get to paint some cheesecake, and we'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.